Hello everyone and welcome to Good Journeys Tarot. I'm Rosemary and today we are going to close out Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot with days 27 through 31. Day 27 was The Strangest Place That You've Ever Read. So most of my readings are either for myself or for people who are online. So I've always read in my office or on my couch, that kind of thing. The oddest place that I've ever read is a place that I believe Strength Reverse mentioned as well, and that is in my car. So I live in an area where it's not unusual to just get stuck in traffic. And one day I was driving down the road and I had a new deck of cards that I had just purchased, and I was stuck in traffic, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pull these cards out and give them a shot. And I did. And that was the Zillich Tarot, which is thought-based, and I loved the watercolor effect, but I just have not worked with the deck because it is thought-based, and I just can't connect with the thought. So that's a deck that's probably going to find a new home at some point. Even though I did spend time with it and edge it and all of that, I just couldn't connect with it. Day 28 was... have you ever turned anyone from a non-believer to a tarot enthusiast? And I would say no. I have friends who are like dabbled with tarot that I think have become more interested in it through interacting with me. But I couldn't say that I've ever convinced anyone who didn't believe in tarot to believe in it personally. And I've not ever tried. So there's that. So the next question was for day 29, the top 5 tarot decks that are underrated. So I probably said those words in the wrong order, but the top 5 underrated tarot decks, in your opinion. I actually only have 3 in my collection that I don't regularly see people talk about online. Now I will say one of these, the first one I'm going to show you, Becoming Temperance, Tracy has talked about several times. In fact, she's the one who turned me onto the deck, and I purchased it, and that is the Zillich Tarot. So the Zillich Tarot, to me, it's the gorgeous thing about it is not the vector artwork, but it is the fact that it not only has, of course, the story that goes through the major arcana, the Fool's Journey, but each of the elements also have their own story. And you'll see characters repeating through the major arcana. You see characters that repeat throughout each of the minor arcana. And it's just beautiful in that way, and it connects all of the cards. I love it. I do wish that I had gotten the first edition of this deck, so if anyone sees one online anywhere, let me know. The 5th edition, there are just a couple of things that I don't appreciate about the editing of the images from the original. So I would love to get my hands on the 1st edition, but this is a lovely edition. It shuffles great. It has the gold edging. It's very nice. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. So I think that one's a little bit underrated, and it is available from, wow, my brain lately. It is the Ellis deck, and I will put the link where you can find it below later. Another deck that I think is underrated is one that well, actually, the next 2 decks are by Red Feather, which is a division of Schiffer. The first one being the Hip Chick Tarot. I just don't see a lot of people talking about it. It's by Maria Strom. I had the privilege of meeting her and interviewing her. These images are vibrant and beautiful and simple, yet so... I want to say provocative, but that's not really the right word. They're full of meaning. And now the one thing about this deck that you're going to notice right away, and it's plus or minus depending on who you are, is that it is all female characters. There are no men in this deck at all. There is masculine energy in some of the cards, but for the most part, this is a feminine deck, and she just has some beautiful takes on the cards that, while they tend to follow the meaning of the RWS, they are not RWS cards at all. And I love this deck. I love how she separated the major arcana and each of the suits by the colored backgrounds, and I love the imagery that she used to modernize the tarot. And so, well, this is a deck I think is underrated and doesn't get enough love. So if you want to see the whole deck and you want to hear what Maria had to say about it, I will put the link to that video below. Like both of these decks, it comes with a great guidebook, which has meanings for all of the cards, but it also gives a little bit about, why she did it the way that she did. And so there's a message from Maria, and it includes, her take on spiritual growth in the tarot, which I found very interesting. And she said something that a lot of people have been bringing up lately, and that's that the cards are inherently not bad or good. The tarot starts from a place of neutrality, and where we go with them based on our behavior and our activity and even our circumstances in life will determine whether they're really good or bad for us at any given time. So that's just an idea that's been popping up a lot lately, and I happen to see that in her book. The last deck that I think is underrated, I don't believe I see anyone posting about this deck other than the author and myself on occasion. And I may be a little prejudiced here because I know the author. And there's actually a video of my interview with her as well, and that is Laura Perry, who did the Minoan Tarot. This also is published by Red Feather, a division of Schiffer. And she also, her cards are have borders that designate their various suits, as well as there's colors in the suits to tell you basically what you're reading. She uses Minoan imagery and artwork. My cat. And one of the things that at first glance you might go, is this really a tarot deck? Because it's 86 cards. So the reason there are 86 cards is, like many creators, Laura attempted to balance the male and female energy in the deck. And so she followed the pattern of a Visconti deck, very old deck, that had 6 court cards, 3 women and 3 men. And in here, those will be the maiden and the youth, the lord and lady, and the priestess and the priest. You'll also see she's used items from the Minoan civilization as the suits in here. We have rhytons, which are the pitchers that I just showed. We have labrises, which are these ornamental axes, as our air suit. We have horns, if I can find one. Yep. Horns as our earth suit. And our fire suit is actually daggers. And I loved her description of why she chose the dagger. And because fire is about passion and energy, and there's nothing more passionate or up close than stabbing someone with a dagger. I do love these cards. They're beautiful. I do feel like you're going to want to read her guidebook to read with the deck, because these images are specific to the Minoan culture, and that understanding brings additional meaning to these cards. So I always refer to her guidebook when I use this deck. It is gorgeous. There's another Minoan tarot deck out there, and they use some of the same images from the Minoan artwork, but they do them with different cards. This one, I just love the way it was put together by Schiffer. The book is in full color, and you can actually see at the top the tabs for the different suits. She does a beautiful job of linking everything to their suit, and it gives this little quotes at the end of each card about the journey. So this card's placed in the journey through the air suit, through the fire suit, through the earth suit, etc. And there is a description of the artwork, which I think is fascinating because a lot of these images have come from actual existing artwork, and have drawn on those images. And so she talks about those historical pieces, which I enjoyed. So that is the Minoan Tarot by Laura Perry. I'll also put a link to my interview with her below so that you can see it. Day 30 is the best card to represent you. So when I first started reading tarot 13 years ago, I was really just into this card, the Priestess, which was interesting because I was coming out of a Christian ministry and entering the world of tarot, and rather than choose the Hierophant, which was the male spiritual symbol of the tarot, I chose the Priestess, which is, that female spiritual energy. And it's interesting how that's all developed in my life. Still may do a video about that at some point for you. A few years ago, when I got more involved in reading tarot for others and myself, I really embraced this card as the card that defined me, which was the Nine of Pentacles, or at least my goal for where I wanted to be. And I kind of feel like I've reached that point in my life, and things have really just come together, despite the fact that I recently had to have a knee replacement, and I'm currently looking to change jobs due to my job moving to another country. Things have never been better for me, and I feel like this is a place where I'm at right now, though I don't know if it will stay that way. We'll see. But the card that I think most defines me as a human being throughout space and time is from a specific deck. And I received the deck recently, and I've talked about it a little bit. And that is from the Light Seers Tarot, and that is the Moon card. And this was the card, as I was scanning through her deck, that I immediately thought, wow, that's me. I've always had this fascination with water. I used to sit for hours by the water at night, watching the stars and the moon and the water as it lapped against the sand, whether on the river or on the lake. And this just really felt like me, or felt like I've always felt, that kind of floating, experience, watching things from beyond a veil, so to speak, or from the, underneath just the edge of the water, kind of outside of reality, so to speak. And so this card just really, I thought, that's me right there. That's been me always. And while I might, not see it every day, that is definitely it. So that's the Moon card from the Light Seers Tarot, which I think is the one that defines me throughout my life, really. Day 31 was your tarot goals for 2020. So I've already achieved some of those goals. Some of my tarot-related goals were, one, to launch my website, which I did 2 weeks ago, goodjourneystarot.com. Another was to attend a tarot conference this year. I've already paid for Reader Studio. I've booked my room. I have my flight. And, well, they're just going to have to give me my vacation regardless of whether it's available or not, right? So, another thing that I really want to work on this year is I want to build my YouTube channel subscribers, so that I can start doing some live videos and some things. There's actually a series that I wanted to do for you guys in the next few months that currently I'm just not able to do because it's only going to work as a live presentation. So hopefully we'll get there. So if you have thoughts on how I can increase my subscribers and make myself more visible and improve my videos, just drop that down in the comments. I have no problem with that. So I'm continuing to work with learning the astrological correspondences to the cards. For the most part, I think I have the major arcana down, and I need to work on some of the ones that are in the minor arcana. And then to strengthening my understanding of how those correspondences come into play in my reading of the cards. Another thing that I'm doing, I abandoned my study of the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. I just wasn't connecting with it after 3 weeks, and I gave up on it. So I'm now doing something that I have been thinking I should do for about 9 months. I saw a video with Kelly on the Truth and Story, and she was talking about, an RWS deck and how she didn't read the swords the way that the RWS does, because she prefers to read them as pips, where you're basing it on the element and the number. And I thought, yeah, I mean, maybe the swords would make more sense that way. I mean, because in the RWS, they're really about a doom and gloom. I mean, they are, and not as, you don't really get that intellectual read from the images in the card a lot of times. So I think studying a pip system like the Marseille is going to help me to read the cards more based on that elemental and numeric association. So I've been working on that, going through Tarot on Earth by Tom Benjamin, and I'm also reading Untold Tarot by Caitlin Matthews. Both were recommendations from Kelly Bear, and I greatly appreciate that. I'm going to be doing some videos about my study of the Tarot de Marseille, not as instructional, but as, okay, this is what I've learned going through the process. I'm still waiting on my Marseille deck to get here. I actually ordered it from Europe, so I'm in the US, so I don't know exactly how long that shipping process will take, so we'll see what happens. So that's it for the 31 Days of Tarot. Thank everyone for checking in and seeing what's going on over here on my channel. I invite you to like, to subscribe, check out the links below about the decks I talked about, as well as hop on over to my Instagram and check out the things I'm posting there, as they are very different than the things that I'm posting here on YouTube. Until next time, good journeys.